May the peace, mercy, and blessings of God be upon you, my dear friends. Welcome to a new episode of your channel, Ummah channel. We continue together in the heart of Mecca, where darkness intensified upon the best of mankind. Faint glimmers of hope began to appear from afar. 3 decisive years, etched with tears of patience and certainty, and confident steps towards a new dawn that awaited the Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him and his followers. We continue our story with the first pledge of Al-Aqaba. For after years of the silent call and the painful public declaration in Mecca amidst stubbornness, mockery, and torment, Allah sent faint glimmers of hope from Yathrib. 12 men who listened to the truthfulness of the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, pledged allegiance to him upon Islam and the pledge of women. And this pledge was like a balm to the wounds of years of hardship, and a feeling of gratitude for these hearts that opened their doors to the truth. It was a moment of anticipation and waiting for what was to come, bearing goodness. This feeling did not last long until it was followed by another meeting of greater depth and commitment, a full year after the first pledge of Al-Aqaba, the second pledge of Al-Aqaba. This time, the delegation from Yathrib was not a small number, but rather 70 men and 2 women. They came from Yathrib, pledging allegiance to him with the pledge of war, vowing to listen and obey in times of ease and hardship, and to protect him as they protect themselves and their children. Here the heart of the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, overflowed with feelings of deep joy for this blessed victory, and with a grave sense of responsibility towards these Ansar who dedicated themselves to the call. It was a moment of certainty that Allah would perfect his light, even if the disbelievers disliked it. But the Quraysh were not going to surrender easily. They felt the danger of this transformation and the strength of the new Ansar. So their leaders gathered and plotted to kill the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him. In these difficult days, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, tasted the bitterness of fear and anxiety for the future of the message and for the lives of his oppressed companions. But in his depths, there was a firm faith telling him that Allah would not forsake him, and that Allah's plan is above the scheming of the schemers. These were moments of great patience and unwavering trust in Allah's promise. Then Allah granted relief, and the prelude to the Hijrah began. By the command of Allah, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, gave permission to the Muslims to emigrate to Yathrib, the city that opened its heart to the call of truth. In these moments, the feelings of the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, varied. There was deep sorrow for leaving Mecca, the land where he grew up and loved, which contained the grave of his mother and ancestors. And there was concern for those who remained of the Muslims in Mecca under the yoke of persecution. But on the other hand, there was hope and optimism for a bright future awaiting Islam in Yathrib, and longing to meet the Ansar who believed and supported. Finally, the moment of the Hijrah arrived. In a momentous night, the courage of Ali bin Abi Talib, may Allah be pleased with him, was manifested in its most magnificent form, where he slept in the bed of the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, to mislead the Quraysh into thinking that he was still in his house, and to return the trusts to their owners, while the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, was leaving secretly in the company of Abu Bakr al-Siddiq. May Allah be pleased with him. The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, left Mecca heading towards Yathrib. At that moment, feelings of absolute reliance on Allah, certainty in his victory, longing for the past, and yearning for the promised future gathered in his heart. Peace and blessings be upon him. From the heart of Mecca, burdened with wounds, to Yathrib, radiant with hope. The journey of the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, before the Hijrah was filled with great human emotions. Patience, hope, fear, certainty, sorrow, and joy, all of them were manifested in his noble prophetic character. And as we reach the threshold of this new phase, so await the next episode of Ummah to complete together the story of the blessed Hijrah. But in your opinion, what is the most prominent characteristic that was evident in the personality of the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, during these events that preceded the Hijrah? Share with us the characteristic that inspired you the most in his handling of these difficult situations in the comments.